Welcome to Industrial Ergonomics, course number BOS 3701. I'm going to be your instructor for this course and give you a brief insight into this course and myself, and hopefully you can ask any questions after this before the course starts or during the course, or if you have any issue on assignments during the course. Welcome to Industrial Ergonomics BOS 3305. As mentioned before, I'm Dr. Worley Johnson. I'll be your professor for this course. I have over a decade of experience as a safety professional, and I'm a third-generation safety professional in my family. My grandfather actually worked for Westinghouse. As OSHA got introduced as a supervisor, he began to kind of implement safety controls. My father is more on the food safety side and some industrial hygiene, and has been a professor for several years at Eastern Kentucky University. And myself started off, with a business background, and then also got a minor in environmental health and science, which is EHS, which can be confusing. And then I got a master's degree in occupational safety and health, and then a doctorate in organizational leadership. I am an OSHA outreach trainer and work with many companies on different things from the safety standpoint, regulations, and then non-regulatory things as well to improve the organization, such as ergonomics, as in this course. I am currently certified to conduct both OSHA 10 and 30 hours courses through construction and general industry. I am a certified ISO 14001 and 45001 lead auditor. So what that means is basically I could lead an audit and then conducted and train for internal audits. Experience is mostly in manufacturing, warehouse and distribution, and construction projects. So this is just going to be a few slides to introduce the course, some of the things that are on your syllabus that you can read as well in your Blackboard course. But I'll go through each one just to give a little bit of a description, and then each course unit as well. Reviews the principles and practices of ergonomics as it applies to an industrial environment. Demonstrates how to collect data on users and operators and how to convert that data into good workplace design. So what does this mean in real life? To anybody that works in a manufacturing or that type of facility, is really that we can observe people the way they work, and then be able to take the data of whether the design is not correct or if they're not working within the parameters that they're supposed to be, and then we can use that data to show either coaching opportunities to employees as a whole, employee as just one employee, one-off situation, or it may be an opportunity to look at additional factors such as workplace design, so that we can look at engineering designs and costs associated to that to be able to fit the workplace to the person, which is really the principle of ergonomics. So our course learning outcomes upon the completion of this class, these are the top things that you should be able to take away. Describe the characteristics of ergonomically designed workstations, examine human factors related to design criteria, discuss body-centered design for mitigation common to workplace stressors, explain prescribed practices for training and instruction related to the workplace ergonomics, examine key management approaches for addressing workplace ergonomic issues, perform ergonomics related hazard assessments, and recommend ergonomically sound control strategies for workplace situations, and summarize ergonomics related regulatory efforts and standards. So it's a little bit of background. It's not in this course, of course, because it doesn't exist anymore, but ergonomics was at one point briefly a regulatory standard. So there is a lot of what's built into ergonomic principles that was a standard. Could it become an OSHA standard again one day? There is some potential for that, but it hasn't been discussed in several years. This was the early 2000s when it was written and then implemented, and then when the administrations and the government the president changed from Clinton to Bush, the regulatory standards went away. So they haven't made their way back, but they could at one point. The biggest benefits you can see from this is just some of the approaches to ergonomic issues, being able to do hazard assessments correctly and be able to get correct scores, so you can look at improvement. And in a lot of situations, the additional time it takes people to do tasks or extra movement, all that's considered waste. And as far as the lean principles that you may have learned about in some of the Six Sigma courses you may have had in the past, different coursework here, or things that you will learn later on in this course and future courses. But there also could be a productivity benefit there where there's a cost savings that can be applied to actually justify projects, so that you're not looking at a straight expense for ergonomic design issues. And from that standpoint, if there are any questions that come up throughout this course on any of these learning objectives, feel free to email me like I mentioned before. I would say that there's a lot of discrepancies in ergonomics, and looking at different hazard assessments that people have done in the past. There could be a lot of different ways that people go about this. So it's really important to know just how to follow the really guidelines to have like a stable score so that you can really improve at the end of the day, which is the point. As far as grading for this course, you have discussion boards. There's 8 of those at 2% each, 16% overall. Assessments, there's 3 of those at 8% each, 24%. Unit 1 homework is 10%. Your Unit 3 assignment is 13%. Your Unit 4 assignment is 13%. And your Unit 7 assignment is 12%. And then your final course project is also 12%. We'll go through each of these in the units discussions, and I'll also post those unit discussions in each unit so you can see that as well later on. Okay, this is going to be your introduction to Unit 1. The reading for this course is your Unit 1 study guide, the Chapter 1 of your book, Organization, and Chapter 2, the Basics of Ergonomics, and Chapter 3. In the Unit 1 homework, your instructions are discussion of the definition of ergonomics and the role of ergonomics in our professional lives. For the Unit 1 homework assignment, you will expand on those concepts a bit further and focus on how ergonomics can affect different types of workstations. In a one-word document, write responses to the following items using APA and cite references all outside sources, including the textbook. Please label each section for clarity using APA headings. Number 1, describe the relationship between proper ergonomic design and your workstation. Include a real-life example. Explain how ergonomics, if not properly applied, can affect your life short-term or long-term. Note, you may consider your study workstation or your workstation at place of employment. Number 2, Amy works for a large variety store in your area. Her work tasks include standing at the cash register, checkout counter for extended periods of time. She is responsible for scanning items and placing them into bags or customers' carts. Some of these items can be heavy. Describe some of the areas within this workstation where the employee could be injured. Describe what actions the employer might take to relieve some of these hazards. Number 3, Adam is a 25-year-old Caucasian male and is an employee working in an automotive section of a large variety store. Using the tables found in Chapter 3, provide the hypothetical description of Adam that would place him in the 50th percentile for weight, height, and waist circumference and body mass index. Provide exact measurements for Adam using the 50th percentile columns. Explain one area where the measurement might be off of use for the employer as it relates to the employee. You should answer each question using 1 or 2 paragraphs for your response at least. All items combined must be a minimum of 2 pages in length. And that's 2 full pages. For Unit 2, the reading of this section will be Office Ergonomics in Chapter 4, Chapter 5, which is Administrative Controls, and Stretch and Flex Program. And then there's a reading assignment of one web page. See the study guide for that as well. Your instructions for the Unit 2 assessment. You may open this assessment multiple times, but you may only submit it once. You are encouraged to print the assessment and prepare your answers offline. Alternatively, you may enter and save your answers for a portion of the assessment and continue the assessment at a later time. Once all questions have been answered, click the Save and Submit button. The Save and Submit button is located at the bottom of the exam. In Unit 3, you'll read Chapter 6, which is Elements of Ergonomics Programs. Chapter 7, which is Biomechanics. The instructions for the Unit 3 assignment. In Unit 3 lesson, we presented problems that Amy was facing in her current workstation. Amy, who works as a cashier at a big box store, works 8-hour shifts but is often asked to work overtime up to 4 hours. Amy is now experiencing knee, hip, and lower back problems after working. You are now asked to assemble a team to address the ergonomic issues Amy is facing and explain a possible solution. Your assignment should meet the following criteria. Identify and explain the different roles within the team. You may use bullet points for this section. Explain how the ergonomics team can work together to help Amy with her current situation, and be able to suggest how to improve Amy's situation as part of your discussion. Explain why it is important for an ergonomics team to implement a plan that considers potential discrimination and disability issues that other employees could face. This assignment should be at least 2 pages in length, which is full pages. Outside sources are not required for this assignment. You are expected to complete this assignment based on just the reading and experience and opinions that you have. For Unit 4, you want to read Chapters 8 and 9. These chapters will be used as part of your course project, Part 1. In Units 4, 7, and 8, you will be building a course project that will assess the ergonomic risks and provide strategies to improve a workstation of your choice. Your final project will be a PowerPoint presentation due in Unit 8. During Unit 4, you will focus on the ergonomics-related hazard assessment. Select a workstation that you are familiar with, preferably one that you work with regularly or have worked with previously. Perform an ergonomics assessment on that workstation. What are the potential stressors of this workstation? What are the potential ergonomic risks and hazards of this workstation? What type of injury could they cause? And explain each hazard in detail. Your ergonomics hazard assessment should be a minimum of 2 full pages in length. As part of your hazard assessment, you will include a minimum of 2 outside sources to support your findings. One source must be from the Occupational Safety and Health Administration OSHA website, which can be accessed at the following link. In Unit 5, I want to read Chapters 10 and 11, which apply to this assessment. You may open the assessment multiple times, but you will only have one time to submit it. You are encouraged to print the assessment and prepare your answers offline. Alternatively, you may enter and save your answers for a portion of the assessment and continue the assessment at a later time. Once all questions have been answered, click the Save and Submit button. The Save and Submit button is located at the bottom of the exam. For Unit 6, you want to read Chapters 12, 13, and then also the reading assignment, as you can see in the study guide. You may open the assessment multiple times, but you may only submit it once. You are encouraged to print the assessment and prepare your answers offline. Alternatively, you may enter and save your answers for a portion of the assessment and continue the assessment at a later time. Once all questions have been answered, then click the Save and Submit button. The Save and Submit button is located at the bottom of the exam. For Unit 7, you want to read Chapters 14 and 15. This is also building upon your course project. In Unit 4, you began your course project in which you review the risks associated with your workstation of choice. During this unit, you will build upon that project to identify whether or not your workstation is ergonomically sound and to determine how the safety can be improved. Start by documenting your findings, comparing them to the tables found in your textbook. Make a determination as to whether your space is ergonomically safe. Specifically, look at the rapid upper limb assessment, the RULA, and the rapid entire body assessment, the REBA. Next, make suggestions on how it can be improved. Finally, conduct research on ergonomics-related regulatory efforts and standards. Are there recommended safety standards or occupational safety and health administration recommendations? What are they? Also explain if you believe the safety standards are enough to keep employees safe or if more need to be done. Hint, make sure you read the Unit 7 lesson in the course study. Your assignment should be a minimum of 2 full pages in length. All sources must be cited and referenced in APA standard. For Unit 8, you want to read Chapter 16. This also builds upon your course project, which is due at the end of this unit. In Units 4 and 7, you explained the workstation and identified whether or not you thought it was ergonomically safe. For this assignment, imagine that you are the organization's safety professional and you're explaining the issues you noted previously regarding the workstation. Additionally, you will include strategies for improving the safety of the employees, and you will make recommendations for what measurement can be done to address the ergonomic issues specific to the organization. Make sure that you read the lesson within this course unit. Your PowerPoint presentation must be a minimum of 10 slides in length, not counting the title and reference slide. Additionally, you must use at least your textbook as an outside source. All sources must be cited and referenced according to APA standards. Additionally, you will include audio along with your PowerPoint in order to fully explain your ideas and suggestions. If you were unfamiliar with adding audio to PowerPoint presentations, then look at the unit and then click on the link. If you are unable to add audio to your PowerPoint, you will use notes within the section to further explain your ideas. And finally, if you have any questions, like I mentioned in the beginning, feel free to email me at any time. I will email you as soon as I can, usually within 24 hours, or if not sooner. If you want to use Ask the Professor, also probably send me an email as well, just to make sure that I can look in within that section. I try to check it pretty frequently, but if you send it at an odd hour of the day, depending on where you're located, it could be a little bit of a delay in seeing that. Without anything else to share, I look forward to seeing you in this class and reading what you submit. And I will give you feedback throughout the course, but feel free to, if you need additional clarification on anything, or just, want to know how it applies to your workplace, ask general questions like that, you can also email about that as well, unrelated to the, course directly. All right, thanks everyone.